It was a perfect day on Vancouver Island, March 15th, 1843 to be exact. It should have been like any other day. The Coast Salish people would go about their daily tasks, the birds up above singing their tune, and the tiny four-legged creatures rustled around the underbrush. That day something unusual happened. A comet unlike any before lit up the sky with a vibrant blue glow, and remained for weeks. This perfect day under the vibrant skies of Victoria were soon filled with billows of steam while cannons fired. This frightened the Coast Salish people. That day, a small steamship called the Beaver sailed into Victoria Harbour. The modest but hardy vessel was the first of its kind to travel the vast Pacific Northwest, bringing with it a new fate for the inhabitants of the island. Leather boots pounded the docks as an ambitious man named James Douglas disembarked the ship. Mesmerized by what he saw, he decided this place was a paradise fit for the Pacific headquarters of the Hudson's Bay Company. You see, James Douglas wasn't any man. He was a powerful businessman. He was the chief factor of the Hudson's Bay Company and was determined to make Vancouver Island a colony of the Crown so that he could establish the new HBC headquarters on the western coast. When this happened, James Douglas was appointed governor. Once appointed governor, negotiation of the Douglas treaties began. Putting pen to paper, he began to write.
This treaty agrees to 14 land purchases in exchange for small amounts of cash, clothing, blankets, the occupation of reserve lands, and hunting and fishing rights on unoccupied ceded land.
At the time of the signing, some of the terms of the agreement were left blank, only to be written in later. At the bottom of the page was the infamous X, which the native people interpreted as a peace sign given it resembled the Christian cross. What was thought to be a spiritual gesture was in fact a symbol of a binding contract that only favored the English. Sadly, the details of the treaties had been lost in translation. As history of the Indigenous people would later reveal, Indigenous leaders thought they were signing a peace treaty, not a purchase agreement. With such unfair treaties, James Douglas succeeded in securing the land he wanted. James Douglas was an English colonist whose power came from his ties to a strong government in Britain. With superior resources such as armies and weapons, the English were able to get what they wanted from the Aboriginal people. The English also took advantage of the First Peoples' inability to understand the European concept of ownership. For Native people, the land belongs to the entire nation. Aboriginal leaders maintained they never gave up their land. As a part of Truth and Reconciliation, we refer to these lands as unceded territories. This is why today, at local gatherings and meetings, we acknowledge the unceded territories of the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Coast Salish people upon whose land we live, work, and play.